This is episode 23 of the Triple Cross Cinema podcast. I'm Whooper, and here's Mario.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
We are doing great because we just watched three very important Brazilian films from the early to mid 1960s, part of the
Yep,
Cinema Novo movement or New
yep.
Cinema. So I guess this would be, if you want to look at things broadly, this would be another new wave episode. It seems like we're on a roll with those. Perhaps we'll hit every single country in the world eventually, but we're restricting ourselves to Brazil this time.
Hmm.
And those films are O Pagador de Promessas,
Yep.
Vidas Secas, and
Wow.
Deus e o Diabo na Terra do Sol. So those films are, I guess the first one is called The Given Word,
Yep.
though literally the title means Keeper of Promises. The
Hmm.
second title is Barren Lives. And the third, probably the most recognizable, Black God, White Devil.
Yep.
The very, very
Um,
provocative name.
yep. So a bit of a background on how we choose the three titles. So it's part of the Cinema Novo, like what Cooper just mentioned, and the Brazil they just in 2016 they give in the list of like the top 100 films that they would recommend by like their local movies, and get what? These three films come at the in the top 10 with Black God White Devil as number two, Barren Life at number three, and The Keeper of Promise on the Given Word as number nine.
When was this list created?
2016. So a
2016.
while, a while ago. Yep.
I'm kind of thinking the opposite. I'm thinking that's very modern
Right. All right.
compared to
Yep.
the ages of these films.
Hmm.
And for a modern movie goer or just film watcher in the year 2016 to see Black God White Devil so high on this list, a film that is so not obscure, but it's so strange. Like it's such an is it fair to call it artsy? I mean,
Yeah. Well, it's political for sure.
it's definitely political, but I mean in terms of the form of the movie,
Yeah.
it's like amateurishly made but
Yep.
also has like a really weird apocalyptic feeling to it, allegorical as well.
I.
It's very
I.
weird. I just can't believe that it would
Yep.
be that high on on such a modern list,
Well.
attempting to get people into Brazilian film. I would think that Black God White Devil would be like the final boss.
Hmm. And it's interesting as well because this era in the 1960s are really the popular era for Brazilian movies. Uh, Out of the top 10 films that on that list I just mentioned, seven out of 10 are from the 1960s.
Hmm.
That's number one is Limited is from 1931. There's one other movie from 1984 and City of God,
Okay, that I've heard of.
2002. Yep, at number eight. So got to say that I think not only that the world recognize this era as like one of the golden era for Brazilian cinema, but Brazil themselves think of that as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess Cinema Novo was a big deal.
Yep, yep, yep. And and the first one gonna be in the release orders in 1962 is the Given Word. And the main reason we picked a film because originally we picked another film, but then I asked Super if we can choose this one instead. Because this one won the Pagador at the 1962 Cannes Film Festivals, and
Yeah.
the only Brazilian film to do that.
Well, it sounds like they're due for another one because it's been 60 years.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's true. Yep, it's yet to come, but yeah, this is it, one and only Pagador winner from Brazil.
Well, I mean, if I don't know anything about the lineup of films from that year, I can only compare this movie to the other two that we watched in preparation for this discussion, and I have to
Yep.
say this was my favorite of the three.
Oh wow. All right.
But it would be very difficult for that not to be the case.
That interesting. I just looking briefly at the list of all the movies play out of that year. There's one film that we already watched before, Rupert.
What's that?
Uh, let let me have a look again. Cleo from 5 to 7.
Oh well, I mean, Cleo from 5 to 7 blows this film out of the water.
All right.
Not even
So they make
close.
they on we only watch two films so far and they already picked the wrong choice.
uh,
Damn. All right.
but I mean,
Interesting.
this film was all right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It was, the this whole new cinema movement in Brazil.
Yeah.
It's very clear just from watching three. Obviously you would want to watch like dozens and dozens of movies from this
Yeah.
time period in this country in order to get a real sense of what Cinema Novo is about.
Mm.
But these three just by themselves as a very small sample size, you can tell what it was about. It was like about economic inequality, lack of
Mm.
opportunity
Mm.
for farmers, like in the Northeast specifically. One of the
Yeah.
films mentions Northeasterners. I think it's Vidas Secas,
Yeah.
Barren
The
Lives.
very life.
Yeah, it's either in the like the opening text on screen
Mm-hmm.
or some like line of dialogue to which the film draws a lot of attention, where it says Northeasterners.
Mm-hmm.
Like this film reflects the plight of Northeasterners and like the misery and the harsh living conditions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also the case in Black God White Devil. The way that the film focuses on the barren landscape, how it stretches
Mm-hmm.
on for forever, and the ground is really flat and infertile.
Mm-hmm.
But in this film takes place in a city. However, you can tell based on like the subplot about the newspaper reporter who's hijacking the story in order to like push the communist angle,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that this film has a lot of the same concerns. It's just not.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the same setting. So
Yeah.
clearly, these three films share a lot of DNA
Yeah.
beyond just being from the same place, same time.
Yeah. Because I remember they mentioned that the main characters, the one who carried the cross, his name is Z or Z.
Yeah, Zay,
Uh,
or even
he
Jay. Yeah.
Yeah, he come from the northeast region of Brazil as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
so
I
the
know he has to come
poor,
from 7 leagues away. They keep saying 7 leagues.
yeah. All right, and we need to mention that all the three film. I'm not really sure about the quality of the subtitle, especially for this one.
Oh yeah. Oh, this one and Vidas Secas.
Yeah,
Yes, the
yeah,
subs were questionable, and I did my due diligence. I downloaded two versions of each film, and I also went on Subscene and
yeah.
tried the English subtitles, like every English version.
That you can
But
find.
if yeah,
Yeah,
still they weren't really up to par.
yeah, yeah.
Black God White Devil had the best subtitles, but the film itself was the least comprehensible.
That is true. And yeah. We talk about that. We cross that bridge later on.
Yeah. So it's interesting that this film, despite having possibly the worst subtitles of the three, English subtitles,
And
it was structured the most traditionally.
I agree. And you can feel that because I think this one is from one of the play. You can feel like the stage play influence in there. They have like kind of talky vibe.
Right.
Uh,
It
and
it definitely has the most, like by far, it has the most dialogue.
yeah, yeah,
The other
yeah,
two films are kind of just content to let the camera observe like the
mhm,
sun-scorched earth for minutes at a time with no talking.
yeah. Just people walking from one end to to the other end.
Yeah. But this film is the most I don't know, the most like it certainly has the most dialogue, but I think that's because it's perhaps the most socially conscious.
Mhm.
Maybe that's Vidas Secas actually, because it says this film is not just a movie; it is also a testament to the misery of Brazilian farmers. But this film
Yep.
has like
Yep.
it cast a bunch of different nets in different directions
Hmm.
because there's a
Hmm.
whole bunch of different individuals and social groups who want to take advantage of all
See.
the hubbub regarding Jay and the cross that he's brought to the Church of
Yep.
Saint Barbara.
All right. So for those of you who want to know what this film is about, it's about a guy, Jay. He make a promise uh Santa Barbara of Saint Barbara
Yeah,
that if his donkey is alive, he gonna just carry a cross from his hometown to the church of Saint Barbara, and as a uh, as a action of like return the promise. And when he get into the church, the local priest refused to to let him in, and there's like others characters like from the guy from newspaper just come in and like making the whole thing the whole mess.
right.
So yeah, it just fall into like what Z want to do. Will he will he stay, or will he just like give up and maybe just forget the whole thing?
Right. Before watching this movie, the synopsis talks about the fact that he has to take his cross to the church as part of
Yep.
this promise that he's made and is keeping in exchange for the fact that his donkey recovered from its illness. I
Yep. Yep.
thought
Yep.
I didn't know anything about the movie beyond what I had just read. Like a couple sentences, a
Mhm.
paragraph about what
Yep.
the film, what its plot was, its summary. And I thought that the film was going to be one of these ridiculously slow movies where we just follow him carrying the cross for the majority of the film. I didn't understand
Oh.
how it was going to be structured, and that he was going to
Yep.
arrive in the city, within minutes.
Yep. 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 Yep.
So
I
I
thought
was
so either,
thankful for
but
that.
yep. I thought so either because during like the opening sequence, we see him carry across, like going through town. But thankfully, like it stopped after like 5 minutes,
I was it
and
five
that
minutes?
it was a bit more, I think. But yeah, but when he make it to the church, I actually at first I thought that he gonna be rejected to that church. He gonna go to another church
Oh,
just to like fight his luck. But no, it just stay there,
right.
which is for me like all the better.
Well, yeah, I think I don't know. Like my opinion of the other two films is a little bit different from this one, so I guess I
Yep.
kind of have my
Hmm.
hopes pinned on this one retroactively, having
All
seen all
right. Yep.
three. If he had gone from church to church and it had been
Hmm.
a slower film where we watch him lugging this thing around, I would have been
Yep.
like, "Oh no, just Brazil, what have you done? Why are all your films about people walking from place to place miserably?"
I
But
think I kind of find it interesting as well because the three films that we watch not only it's have like a sense of political unrest, but there's like it pretty much Christian as well. Like there's a whole thing about religion, faith, and and
yes,
Christianity.
especially in
I
The Promise Keeper and in Black God, White Devil. Vidas
Yep.
Secas, there's in the second
Yep.
part of the film, the second act, I guess, they go to church, or rather,
Mhm.
the wife
Mhm.
goes to church, and the
Yep. Yep.
husband uh, goes to the bar that's like within
Yep.
walking distance of the church and has a drink and plays cards.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But yeah, that's true. There does. I mean, for people who are in such dire like economic uh, in such a dire economic situation, looking to God is perhaps, the only hope that they have.
Yep.
So it makes
Yep.
sense that it would be such a focal issue in the films that come out of this place, or
Yep.
this, like this situation, this time period.
Yep. And up accompanies Z is his wife as well, and she got into like a strange affair with the bonitas, the handsome guy.
Yeah, she calls him handsome,
Yep.
or everybody does. I guess that's his name. He's a pimp.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
Uh, yeah, that was
Interesting.
strange.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
interesting
strange.
to
It
me.
was strange because the film, like, I'm not sure what the position was in terms of how consensual their night together was. Because when she sees him later on, she seeks him out. She goes to talk to him, and I think there are
Yep.
several points in the movie where she's like considering whether to leave her husband and go with the other guy, with
Yep.
handsome
Yep.
bonitas.
Yep.
So I mean, but he their their relationship didn't seem like it was consensual. But I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Who knows what happens behind closed doors? I guess.
that is true. And even like the totally, like of oblivious to what happened, especially like the night before, the night that he let his wife, like go to sleep in the hotel.
Right. Yeah. So that's we were talking earlier about how the subtitles weren't very good. There was a particular scene where after she spent the night at this hotel, and we know as the audience that she has slept with
Yep.
handsome. When
Yep.
she comes back, and Jay is still on the steps leading up to the
Yep.
church.
Hmm.
He spent the night there. When Rosa, his wife, comes back, they get into some sort of discussion about, and he says to her, "No, you don't understand. This is something that I have to do. Think of what might happen." And then she says, "What if it already has happened?"
Yep. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep. Yep.
then there's like really violent string music that starts playing out of
Tring.
nowhere for like 3
Yep.
seconds, and then it goes away. And then so the implication of that moment is that he has understood somehow from their conversation that she has slept with another man,
Yep.
even
But
though not a single word was exchanged that would lead you to believe he's just
yeah.
come to that realization.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a fault of the subtitles. It must be, right? Surely he must have said something and she piggybacked off of it in a way that like there was some sort of double entendre or double meaning.
Hmm.
Um,
Oh.
and he was like,
Yep.
"Oh, I see what's happened here."
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I,
Well.
it just completely went over my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I remember that scene as well, and uh,
In all three of
yep.
these films, the use of music is very
I
blatant.
Yeah. Well, I think it's also because I think these are looped afterwards. It's like a common practice back then, whereas like they wouldn't record the sound and the music and the dialogue directly, but they're gonna be looped later on.
Well, definitely not the
Uh, uh,
music. I mean, it wouldn't be live music, but
yeah.
there
Uh,
there was, I mean, there was one character who for sure had their dialogue dubbed, and that was
the priest.
yes, the Ekedi or Ekedi, the woman who belonged to the Candomblé religion. So
Oh,
not the
right. All right.
Catholic priest, but the woman
Yep.
who like worshipped Iansan.
Yep. All right. Yep.
I noticed that her dialogue didn't really match her lip flaps, so to speak. But yeah, there probably were many other characters who in all three of these films who had their dialogue dubbed over.
I yeah
Because lives can get
I know.
lost. The recording technology back
Yep.
then wasn't as good.
Yep. I noticed that a lot in Black God, White Devil,
Really?
where it's just, yeah, where it just doesn't match what the leaves move, you know.
Hmm. Okay. For that film, I think I was so desperately trying to like stay awake and follow what was going on that I wasn't even looking at the characters' mouths. I was
Okay.
just like staring intently at the bottom of the screen, waiting for a line of dialogue to pop up so I could try to figure out what the hell was, you know,
Yep.
what the hell ever anyone was talking about.
Yep. Yep. So back to the plot. We would say that the intention is very pure. He just want to get the cross, like get into the church and be done with it and fulfill his promise, and he will be happy. But the church, the priest doesn't think so, because like of the how ridiculous this story was. Like just to save the donkey, sorry, and and yeah, and all the others, other people involved. The newspaper. There's a local the guy in the restaurant, the guy in the local bar, and there is like the guy who I think he writes stories. I'm not
Right.
really sure what he is.
Yeah, I wish there were a good term with which to
Mhm.
describe like, what he does, his occupation.
Yep.
He's like a street author kind of.
All right. Yeah.
Like he writes booklets, he calls them. And
Mhm.
there I think the idea is that he takes whatever issues are playing out and like topical current events, that kind of stuff,
Mhm.
and he writes
Mhm.
stories about them. He kind of like mythologizes them and makes
Mhm.
them digestible for like the common person.
Yep. 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 Yep.
He's an interesting character. Like his job, like his function, kind of in that society to take stories that are happening, to take the news, kind of, and turn it into art, and kind of
Mhm.
sensationalize it and use it as uh, I don't know if propagandizing it is the right word, but kind of he might be like weaponizing what's happening in the city and trying to sell a
Yep.
particular point of view by
Yep.
making it
Yep.
into
Yep.
a
Yep.
story. To get more information
Mhm.
about him and understand what his motivation was beyond just profit would be
Yep.
would be interesting, I think. But
Mhm. Mhm.
I think most of the characters who wanted to take advantage of Zay's situation
Yep.
were like there were so many of them that the film couldn't explore any of them too deeply.
Yep. Yep. I agree with that.
But I think it worked out regardless,
Yep.
because the fact that there were so many people piling on to what was happening with his promise and his inability to keep it, rather
And
like taking a quantity over quality approach, I think
yep.
was for the best.
I think the plot that we work were pretty precise, in a way that when they introduce new characters like the newspaper, he will he will eventually be important to that plot, just just immediately. So that when we see handsome appear as well, we know that he up to no good, and we see that right away. So it doesn't take it time, it do it like immediately,
Yeah,
making an impact to the story.
that's true. We even know that we like Handsome is introduced even before he speaks. Like we see
Yep.
him
Yep.
on the sidewalk, I guess.
Yep.
Jay and Rosa pass him on their way to the steps of Santa Barbara,
Mhm.
and he's kind of like lurking in the shadows there. And we also see the prostitute who works for
Mhm.
him and is in a relationship with him, Marley. We see her before she talks to either of the two main characters,
Yep.
and then they come to factor into the film in a bigger way later on. But I
It.
mean, the fact that their relationship to Zay and Rosa was so different from everyone else's,
Yep.
kind of made them outliers in a sense. Like it was about love or lust rather than any of the social or political issues that
Yep.
other people, their angles were related to. Like
Yep.
even the owner of the cafe, for example, the fact that he put up flags above his restaurant that were the colors of Yansan,
Mhm,
the deity, the god in Candomblé.
mhm, mhm.
Uh, you can the fact that he does stuff like that. He's a capitalist basically. He looks
Mhm,
for profit above all else.
mhm.
Um, and he wants to be in the photo that's taken of Zay for the newspaper, and
Yep.
he's like a chameleon. He'll adopt whatever point of view and insert himself into any situation that's going to result in more business and more money.
Yep. As long as people turn up into his cafe, he's happy.
Right. And that's why he would. I mean, if he were to have a point of view about whether or not Zay should be allowed to deliver his cross, he would probably say no, because he
Yep.
wants him to be stuck there for as long as possible to draw more people.
Yeah, true. And that is why that you already mentioned that the relationship between Rosa and Handsome was strange,
Yeah.
but I think it's Rosa and Marley, the prostitute. Like the scene they are together.
Oh, the cat
Uh,
fight.
man, it was worse because um, I when Rosa mentioned to Zay that she wanted to meet Marley. Um, I thought that like they would talk it out, and the the first thing that Rosam when she see Marley, she asked for handsome,
Right.
and I would say nah, my God, and then they had to fight about that. The film writing of the woman and not that good, terrible.
Well, I mean, it at the film at least respects Rosa enough to explore her consideration of leaving her husband, because
Yep,
she's saddled to this guy. And the introduction to the two characters, he's like, ah, at last we finally reached the church. Okay, now we're gonna stay here overnight on the steps because we can't afford to let the cross
yep,
get stolen or whatever. I don't want it to be yoinked after I've carried it for 7 leagues in search of Santa
yep,
Barbara.
yep.
But the he's single-mindedly dedicated to this promise, and he neglects his wife to the point
Yep.
that you would think it would be like a kindness that he'd be doing her, saying, "Oh yeah, go to the hotel and take a load off." But in fact, he is just so ignorant of her feelings that he says, "Oh no, go to the hotel," when she clearly doesn't want to because she's being harassed by this guy
Mhm.
who's approached them saying, "Ah, I'll take her to this hotel. I know a great spot." So
Yep.
she feels ignored and
Mhm.
neglected by Zay,
Yep.
and even when she returns and there's that weird reveal that's very unclear that she's been with another man,
Yep.
his response to that is not. She would probably want him to be more upset on her behalf.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
But he isn't, because he cares more about getting his cross inside the church than he cares about his traveling companion and his wife.
Yep. Yep.
So
I.
she considers at multiple points leaving him because
Mhm.
he's you know she's tied her fortunes to this guy who's like given away a bunch of his farmland and is now not even paying attention to the little he has left because he's off in some other city on some mission that
Yep.
she doesn't care about.
Yep.
So the fact that she has a
And
cat fight, not great, but the fact that she like explores her options in terms of what's best for her, and considers, uh, you know, taking her life into her own hands and leaving behind the man that she's chained to, that I think is good.
yep. Yep. I agree. And even like to their conversation before Handsome appear, I think they explicitly say that it is his mission, not her. Like they they never mentioned anything about her doing the promise at all.
Yeah, he trots out that line whenever she says, like whenever she kind of implies this is ridiculous or I'm
Yeah,
exhausted, I'm tired. He says, "Oh, well I didn't say you had to come. You wanted to.
yeah, yeah,
You volunteered."
yeah, yeah.
Um not the most
Terrible.
not yeah, not the most sensitive thing to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yet
But
despite
yeah,
him figuring into this film as kind of like a Christ-like figure, because he's
mm,
literally carrying a cross. There
yeah,
are a couple points in the film where he is like kind of a fallible person,
right, right, right.
not just like a
Like
symbol of purity.
yep, like a scenes where he with Mali the prostitute. I think like there a couple of times he did mention that as well that he wanted to stab her or something.
What?
Yeah, he did say that,
That he
and
who Zay said this?
they say that. Yep,
He wanted to stab Marley.
yep.
I
He
remember
he
him saying
wanted
that
to
he wanted
stab.
to stab somebody.
Yeah,
No,
that's
it
her.
was a bomb.
And
Didn't he say he wanted to plant a bomb in the church?
that's what before, and then afterward uh when Mali said something to Rosa, and he said like at one point he nearly feel that he lost it, so he wanted to stab her or do harm to her. He confessed that to Rosa, and then later on when I think we have another scene with Mali and Rosa. I think he actually come in trying to stab her or something with the knife. Remember the hand knife?
I do remember the knife, and I do remember
Yeah,
him expressing the desire to like hurt somebody with it or to stab someone. But I didn't remember that it was Marley.
I think that was Mali. Yes.
Oh, interesting. I wasn't
Yeah.
even thinking of that or the bomb threat when I was talking about him being like a valuable character. What I was
Yeah.
thinking about specifically, and I think this is a point that the film hinges on, is so the promise that he has made, he did at a candomblé house, like a house of
Mhm.
worship, not a Catholic church. So he
Yeah.
did it to Iansan. The promise that he made was to Iansan, who is the god or goddess of lightning and thunder in
All right.
Candomblé, which is like a, a religion that originated in Africa,
Mhm.
and there's a good number of practitioners in Brazil because of the slave trade when slaves from Africa were brought to Brazil.
Yeah.
And you can tell watching the film that a lot of the candomblé worshippers they have darker skin.
Yeah.
I think that plays into the scene when they're not allowed into the church on the day of Santa
Right.
Barbara. They're
And
all like shunted
even
off to the side.
yeah, and even Mali as well,
That's
who
right. Yeah,
who
that's
isn't
right.
allowed to go to the church. Yeah.
Right. And that's another role that the priest plays in this film. Not only does he bar Jay from keeping his promise and completing his mission, he is also responsible for segregating the people of the city into different camps, I guess, and only allowing
Yep.
some of them in to worship.
Yep. Yep. Um.
I think the film is tying together discrimination based on religion and discrimination based on race.
mm,
Especially in that scene when the candomblé worshippers dressed in white are all
Yep.
off to one side, and a lot of the people who are entering into the church have like lighter skin.
Yep. Yep. Very
Um,
interest. Very interesting.
yeah.
Uh,
So the he made the Jay made the promise to Ian-san, who is
mm,
the goddess of lightning. And when
mm,
he explains this to the priest is like, "Oh no, you didn't make this promise to Santa Barbara. You made it to, like a false god, and you got sucked
yep.
into witchcraft and idolatry."
And you
In
are Satan.
Well, that doesn't come until Black God, White Devil. There's a character who's literally named Satan.
Yep.
But Zay insists that he's like a good Catholic, and the promise that he made in his mind was to Saint Barbara,
So, yeah,
but the priest disagrees. So Zay thinks Iansan or Santa Barbara, because I need to complete my mission and fulfill my promise. To me, they are the same. But later, when he talks to the Ekede, the Candomblé leader, the woman,
uh, yeah,
she says, um, "I understand that you need to keep your promise and deliver your cross. Come to our church. Come to
yeah,
the Candomblé house of worship, and there you can freely deliver your cross." Then
yeah,
he says, "No, it's not the same. I need
mhm,
to deliver it to the Church of Santa Barbara."
yeah,
So in that moment, when he's talking to her, he makes a distinction between Yansan and Santa Barbara. Whereas before, when he was talking to the priest, he viewed them as equivalent. He
yeah,
viewed the promise that he made as legitimate. But then
yeah,
later, he doesn't.
yeah.
So
Well,
he
I,
he's clearly like, the film is obviously criticizing the priest for not being, like for not being flexible, not being fluid, and not respecting this man's belief and his promise. But Zay himself is guilty of the same thing in that scene when he talks to the Candomblé woman.
yeah. I think his reasoning it's just that simple that he make a promise to Santa Barbara, so he had to deliver the cross to the Santa Barbara church.
In his
So
mind, he made the promise to
yeah,
Santa Barbara,
mhm,
but it wasn't actually at a Catholic church that he made that promise, which is why the
that's
priest won't
right.
let him in.
Yep, yep, yep. And we didn't actually mention it's not only the priest, but like the higher level of the priest as well.
Yeah,
That
there's like a council meeting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That they try to come and interfere, and they want to forgive Z for doing the wrong thing, so that he had to apologize and he had to um do the mission again. I think in order for them to accept, like doing it the right way, what they said.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly.
Yeah,
I wasn't raised Catholic, so I don't know the
yeah. So
like the
I
title of the person who comes in to try to smooth over the situation, to like
mhm.
mediate between the two parties. He would have some
Yep,
sort
yep,
of
yep.
title in Catholicism. But yeah, what does he say to Zay exactly? Does he say he has to renounce
Yeah,
his promise?
the gist of it is that renounce this promise, go back home. If he want to do another promise, just do it properly with the Catholic Church, carry the cross, and then they will allow him in.
I didn't think that that's exactly what was said. Was it that he had to do it
All
all
right.
over? Just that he had to like
Yep.
renounce the promise that he made to Iansan specifically.
Ye- Right. Ye- Yep.
I don't really I don't remember the wording of it exactly, unfortunately,
Yep.
because that's an important point in the film. But
Yeah.
one
Yep.
way or another,
Well,
they make a demand that
he
that
don't
he
accept.
that he take back like what he's done so far, how far he's come. It has to be for nothing, essentially.
Yep.
And at that point of the movie, like religion aside, he just wants to get in there. He's come all this way, and he's starting to get sick of the fact that people are misunderstanding him,
Yep.
using him, looking down on him, whatever the case may be.
Yep.
And he just wants to get in. He just wants to get into that church. There's the scene where he tries to bust the doors down with the cross.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
That doesn't work.
Wow, that doesn't good. That doesn't work in multiple levels. Like the scene itself look very amateurish.
Oh, you didn't like the way it
Like
was shot, like from overhead?
no, no, I didn't like the way that like people just keep standing, like as a group, and then they would just clear the way when he go to the door, and even when he hit the door, it didn't really feel. I didn't really feel the impact uh, that there is a cross, like hitting the door.
Well,
To
I
me,
can't
like
imagine it was
it's
an actual like cross made out of wood. It was probably a prop,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So it just looks staged to me, and
Well, it is
even
based
like
on a
the
stage play.
yeah, well, and even the way that the priest, the way he act in that scene is doesn't look that believable to me.
Hmm.
But
Interesting.
well, but like I said, the it's uh we can feel the stage spirit in this film, but there's one particular scenes where like the film actually open up, so we see like all the activities, we see the day of the I think that the Barbara festivals, and we see like the whole bunch of people just doing the dancing and doing the martial
Capoeira.
art thing, yeah, capoeira things, and it's look great. I really enjoy these scenes.
Dude, that was that was the most perplexing part of the film to me.
Oh
Why do
wow,
people bust out into a capoeira like demonstration?
because that's a popular activity there over there.
Is that really something that they would do on the steps of a church,
I have
like
no
a
idea.
martial arts uh,
I
demonstration?
I have no idea, but I would say that it has to be based on the real thing, right? Like
Does
people
it?
actually do that, but people actually do that in the festival, right?
Well,
I
probably
don't know.
so, but in a religious festival, I don't know. I mean, I'm not Brazilian, so
Yeah. Mhm.
obviously I'm not the person to ask.
Yeah.
But I just thought that
It,
was very weird.
all right. Yep. Fair enough. It's interesting to me that.
I mean,
And
visually it was kind of cool, I guess. Though they
mhm.
do I was there like were there repeated cuts in there?
What's
Cuz they
sorry,
kept
sorry.
they the two capoeira
Yep.
the two martial artists were they
Yep.
kept doing the kicks over each other's heads, you know.
I
I
think
could
it's like just
swear that they reused a particular scene.
uh all right.
Maybe
Maybe.
maybe both guys were just so precise that it merely looked like it.
All right, maybe.
But, you know, it felt to me as though the exact same like shot was placed twice in the film.
Yep.
I don't
All
know.
right.
I don't know anything about capoeira, so I'm not an expert. I remember that it was mentioned in Odd Taxi.
Yep. 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 That's the first time I heard about that as well.
We got Odd Taxi and The Given Word.
Hmm. And yeah, so even though that Z doesn't want to, like, have anything to do with like being becoming Christ, like at the end, uh, he becomes sort of a figure that like people put him on the cross,
Right.
and go to the church. What do you take of that scene?
I mean, I don't know. First of all, I don't think it's very plausible that he would have balanced.
True.
Like
Yep.
with a whole bunch of people propping up the cross with him on it, not tied to it or nailed to it in any way, he would probably slip off and fall.
Yep.
Because
Yep.
he's dead. He can't like tense his body and stay on there. I mean, I'm sure the actor in that scene was like he was pressing his arms back into it in order to secure himself against it and like tensing his abdomen to stay balanced and everything. But
Yep.
he
Yep. Yep.
if that were a corpse, it would have fallen off.
Yep. Yep.
But as far as the scene, like conceptually, it just completes the arc of Zay's character because he's the Christ figure. So he
Yep.
dies, you know.
Sacrifice for everyone else.
Well, his death is more like random, seemingly. He's killed
Mhm.
in the midst of a big like kerfuffle, it's possible that it wasn't even intentional.
Yeah. But
Although the involvement of the military police at the very end, I think, suggests that he was assassinated, and that big brawl was like cover for
yep, yep,
killing
yep.
him because he made
But
those comments to the reporter about like the land share movement being just.
yeah, and he gonna bomb the church and all that.
Oh yeah, because he does say that at one point, and then that's brought back to the he just said it in a moment
Yep,
of frustration, and it's brought back as like quote
then
unquote evidence against him.
yep. That's a really weird scene that after he shot dead though. Like you will see that some of the men, mostly black men, just like kind of eyes seeing each other's. Like they do the eye to eye things, and like the police just gonna just step back, and all the priests as well just step back, and then this guy just gonna hold him and put him into the cross. So who are they?
Are you talking about after the big fight?
Yeah, after the big fight, after Z got shot.
Huh.
So
The scene
these
the
these
scene that I
men,
remember where people are like looking at each other silently was before the fight when they were kind of communicating wordlessly that they were about to like there was about to be an uprising. But
huh?
you're
Right.
saying that you remember a scene
Yeah, I
where people are
remember the
looking at each
scene.
other silently after the fight has already happened.
Yep, yep, yep. I remember that. It happened after the fire already happened. It happened after Z got shot, and they was like look at each other, and then they decided to like to grab Z and put him into the cross.
Right. Well, I mean, I would say that the purpose of that scene then is just for them to decide silently to venerate Zay. Like
Yep.
they, rather than say out loud, "Oh, let's put him on the cross and carry him into the church," because if they said it out loud, that would give the priest and the military police and the opposition a chance to say, "No, you can't do that. No, don't do that."
Mhm, mhm,
But
mhm.
instead, they decided on it wordlessly, and I suppose in a sense, there's more power to it that way. When the everybody would be sufficiently moved to kind of get on the same page and decide to make that statement, I guess,
Mhm.
of putting him onto the cross and
Yep.
despite his death, keeping his promise. If they could do
Yep.
that without saying one word, that gives the scene
And
a different feel, I think.
yep. And the movie end with Rosa being left alone at the steps.
Yeah, not a
Don't
surprise
know where
based
to go.
on how she's treated for the rest of the film.
Yeah. Well, all right. Uh, you have any other notes before we go to Barren Life?
Yeah, I actually have one, and it relates to what I was
Yep.
talking about Zay making the promise to Iansan and not to Santa Barbara.
Mm.
I mentioned that
Yep, yep,
Iansan
yep.
is the deity of like lightning and thunder and storms and stuff in Candomblé. I think
Yep.
it's important to note that Santa Barbara is also the saint of lightning
Hmm.
in Catholicism
Hmm.
because there's a story about Santa Barbara, which is that she converted to Catholicism
Hmm.
and she was killed by her father as a
Wow.
result. Her father beheaded her. This is
Wow.
like in the mythology. I
Heavy
don't
stuff.
I don't know that this actually happened, but in the
Yep.
story surrounding Santa Barbara was she converted to Catholicism. Her father beheaded her, and as her father was walking home, he was struck by lightning.
Hmm.
So as a result, Santa Barbara is considered the saint of, among other things, lightning. And that's similar to the power that Iansan in Candomblé is thought to have. So to people who kind of view religions syncretically, like think of
Hmm.
overlap between religions and connections between them, there may
Hmm.
have been a link in their mind between Iansan and Santa Barbara, which may have contributed
Hmm.
to uh, Zay's belief that a promise made to one would be as good as a promise made to another.
Hmm. Very interesting. Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's something that would come out, to people who perhaps to people in Brazil during this time period who saw the film when it was released and uh, were familiar with Candomblé.
Mhm.
And we're living in like perhaps a more urban area where there was more cross pollination between people groups and between religions. So that's
Mhm.
like a very specific point, I think, that the film doesn't comment on. It just leaves it in the background.
Yep.
I only found out about it because I went hunting on Wikipedia.
Hmm. Very interesting. Wow. All right.
That's the only other point I have about the film. That's all I got.
Yep. Yep. Oh, good. All right. Let's move up a year to 1963, and we talk about Vida Seca's Barren Life.
Yeah.
It's all right.
What do you got?
I would just say that the plot feels like 30 minutes, and it's stretched out to 90 minutes.
The plot is what, and it's stripped down.
It feel like 30 minutes long.
Oh yeah, it feels like 30 minutes worth of plot.
Yeah, for a
Yes.
90-minute film. That's what I feel.
Yeah. It
I
was very very slow.
I feel that out of the three films, this one the visual is striking. I would say that Black God White Devil visual is striking as well. But this one they have like a really a documentary feel. Like we just feel it. Like we kind of like observe these characters doing their things. These character I don't know if they are like uh they are represent of their real life or not. I doubt it, but like they look very packed of the characters. um
You mean the actors
and
look
yep, the actors
they
and
look as though they're farmers? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, and like in the bottom of the society doesn't really uh working like a dog, like what they say, working like a dog, and doesn't have enough to eat.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
uh, it's a sad movie. I mean, it doesn't make
yeah.
me sad. I didn't really enjoy the film at all, so I didn't feel anything
Oh,
about it.
all right.
But it's the film opens with like the text on screen says, "This film is not just a faithful transposition of an immortal work of Brazilian literature. It is above all a testimony about the dramatic social reality of our times and the extreme misery that enslaves 27 million Northeasterners that no decent Brazilian can ignore any longer."
All right.
So that is sad.
All right.
Uh,
The version that I watched don't have that text beforehand.
oh, okay.
So
Well,
I did what I did check on another version and I saw that text. So
okay.
well,
Yeah, I downloaded a version of the film that didn't have subtitles for that part, and I was like, no, I need to find another. Obviously,
yep,
this is
yep.
very important, so I need to find a version of the film that has that translated. So I
All right.
I did, and I recorded it because I mean I didn't like this film at all. I mean, to be honest, just
Uh-huh.
if somebody had just handed me a piece of paper with that text on it, saying that there are
Yep,
27 million people in Northeast Brazil who are living under these conditions, and then just hand
yep,
me a series of photographs of like the people who live there and the farmland that is dry and won't yield
yep,
any crops,
yep,
and I'd be like, wow, that's I can't believe that there was such widespread suffering in Brazil during this
yep,
time. That's
mm,
heartbreaking. That would have been enough for me. I don't need the whole damn film.
yep,
Uh,
yep.
just the
And
statistic and some photographs would be enough.
and the thing is, like for this family in particular, it's not about like they cannot uh, raise above, uh, but more like they keep making wrong decision as well. Like if the father just give the money and um, keep saving, he might have some saving, but he spent it all uh, to the drink and to the uh, to
Gambling. He loses at gambling.
gambling. Yes, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Uh, I've never like gambling is not something I have any experience with, and I don't know
Mhm.
a lot of gamblers. I mean, I'm into Pokemon cards, so people buying
Yep.
packs, little packs of cards and
Yep.
opening them up and hoping that something good is inside. That's I suppose that's gambling in a sense. But I
Yep.
don't know any like heavy gamblers. So I've never just personally I've never had a lot of understanding or sympathy for gambling addicts.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
obviously I have a ton of sympathy for anyone who's living in these sort of circumstances and who has like not a penny to their name basically, and who may, they obviously they don't have much, but they want what everyone else has. Um, and so gambling might be a way that they could close the gap in their mind or catch up, achieve some of the things that they want. So I
Mhm.
understand why someone might do it, but in the
Yep.
context of this film specifically, when they're slowly saving up money for this bed,
Yep.
and
The
then he
bad.
just gambles away their meager savings.
Yep.
I Man, I know I'm supposed to be sympathetic, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Guy's just an idiot.
Yeah.
If you don't have a lot of money, hang on to the little that you have. I mean,
Yeah.
I it's I feel wrong saying it,
Yeah.
but it's the truth.
Yeah. But according to Wikipedia censorships, they say that he wins.
What? Okay,
Yeah.
these subtitles sucked. Okay,
No,
I'm
no,
on Wikipedia
I,
right now. Vidas secas, barren lives.
all right.
He wins.
Yeah, all right. Read this. One Sunday before a folklore festival, Fabiano is provoked to play catch with by a police officers. We all know that.
Yeah.
Although he wins, he get beaten and dragged into the
Okay.
prison. I don't think he win at all. I think that he didn't win on that and he lose all the money.
Well, I'm thinking about it now, and it could just be that he beat the police officer in the game.
Huh,
Like he took his money
huh,
by winning, and so then he gets up and leaves. And of course, then
huh.
the cop follows him outside and provokes him,
Yeah.
and
Well,
throws him in jail and beats him and stuff. And he might be the cop might have been motivated to do that because what was his name? Fabiano. Because Fabiano took his money in the game. He won it.
huh, huh, huh. All right, because I think Fabiano did say to the cop that why I have to stay when you spend all your money losing or something.
Yeah,
Yeah, he did say something along that line.
right.
Well,
I don't know whether he won or lost money, but in
yeah,
either case, the policeman got pissed at him, and even if he won money, I guess it would have been stolen from him, like wherever
yep,
he put it, his
yep, yep,
pocket, his shoe that doesn't
yep,
fit.
yep, yep,
They
yep,
could have easily taken it.
yep, yep. And before that, he was encountered by some I think local city guys who asked him about like paying for tax, which he responded he don't know anything about tax, and the landowner where they underpaid him, but at first he tried some resistance and then he just kind of like back off and say that his wife was wrong, so he was wrong and he say sorry and so that.
Yeah,
So I think it's just a critic of them as well, the poor, that they don't try to to prevail against the inequality that happened to them.
Oh, I wouldn't say that this film criticizes the poor at all.
Right.
No, I think it's a criticism of the government that isn't
All
doing
right.
anything about the extreme poverty and suffering of 27 million people.
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean,
Yep.
that's how the film frames it directly,
Mhm.
text on
Mhm.
screen.
Okay. I
Um,
missed that.
yeah, it's
Yep. Yep. Mhm.
and I mean the opening like 10 minutes are them just walking
Yep.
through the desert essentially.
With the dog.
Right. Yeah. What
The
was the
next.
dog's name? It was like Babalera or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And
It's
there's
it.
much crying and like weeping and saying of the
Yep.
dog's name
Yep.
as you know before it's killed towards the
Yep.
end.
Um.
Dude,
I would
these are
say
some of the worst child actors ever.
was right.
Yes.
I would say two things. The first thing is the desert in Brazil. It looks very distinctive. They have like all these the cactus, and it just look. Is it look the same in uh the same with the desert in America, because it look very distinctive to me.
I mean, in some parts of America, there could be deserts that look like that.
Right.
I don't know, like Arizona, maybe,
All right. All right. Hmm. Interesting.
maybe in Nevada as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. All right.
But I'm sure that it's you know nothing like. I think one important point of context is that I don't know if it's in this film or if it's in Black God White Devil, but there's mention. Oh, it is Black God White Devil. When the what was his name? Sebastio, was it
Yep.
Sebastio, the god, I guess, the prophet
All right. Yep.
who
Yep. 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 Yep.
Manuel was following? He says something
Yep.
about a
Yep.
drought. He said, I said that there would be a drought
Yep.
for however many months or years, and there was.
Yep.
So
And then the rain as well.
I think at this
I
point in
Yep.
Brazilian history, there was probably like a really long drought and famine,
Mhm.
um, which is
Yep.
you know why there are so many shots of the desert with the sun beating down on it and like not a cloud in sight,
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
why in this film the you know the lives of farmers are made so difficult because in addition to the ground not yielding any crops, there's not even any rain. So
Yep. And I think it's very purposely shot, where like at the first shot we see like the family just slowly walking through the desert to the screen, and at the end we see them like walking ahead, like walking just apart from the camera,
I
away
don't
from
even
it.
remember the end of this film at all, man. Like
All
I
right,
couldn't
the
tell
end
you
of
what the final shot was.
all right, the final shot is very distinctive. They walk out of the house, and they go through the desert, and we see them for 5 minutes walking away from the camera.
So is it like the reverse of the opening
Yep,
shot where they slowly walk
yep,
towards the camera?
yep, yep, yep.
Okay. I mean
So
that makes
it's
sense.
yeah, that makes sense. They just keep running and not running. They just keep going away, finding a new place to live.
I do remember this now.
Yep,
And before that final shot, there's like a long conversation between Fabiano and Vittoria.
the wife. Yep,
Yeah, about how she wants them to have a good life and she wants their kids to be able to to learn how to read and
yep.
she
Mhm.
wants that bed that they saved up to buy the leather for. Um, yeah,
Yep.
she even says directly at one point, which I think is one of the film's major questions, why should some people have everything and others have nothing? Like why are we not allowed to have the things that other people have? Um, which that's what the film is asking, I think, by putting the barren lives of its characters on screen. Like how
Yep.
can you are can you look away from this? It says in the opening text, no decent Brazilian can ignore this suffering any longer. So by
I
making such a long, boring, oppressive, sad film,
yeah.
the film is essentially challenging the viewer. You know, it's a bit like Jean Dielman.
All right, all right. There's one other film that I want to compare, and it's not John Diamond. It's the Still Life, the Iranian movies about
Yep.
a couple of elderly that we watch.
The train conductor, right?
Yeah, true.
Not the
Yes.
conductor, but the guy who just lives at the train station and makes the arm go up and down. The arm
Yeah.
like blocking the track. Yes, I actually thought of that film specifically while watching Vidas Secas.
Yeah. Because
Very
I think
slow cinema.
I think about the Iranian movies, like the three film that we pick, compared to the three film in Cinema Novo. So they're kind of similar, like the way the three film turn out. So we have this film, kind of similar to that, to Still Life. We have the first film of this kind of similar to
Brick and Mirror
um,
or The
yeah,
Cow.
Brick and Mirrors. Yeah, that's right, Brick and Mirrors, where you enjoy it. I think the most out of the three film as well.
Yeah, and it's
And
set. It's
if
kind of set in the city and is more
that's
political,
right.
I guess,
Yep, yep, yep.
or
And
social.
then we got something kind of weird, strange, the cow and Black God White Devil.
Right. Although I
So yeah.
will say, Black God White Devil gave me a new appreciation for The Cow. I didn't really like The Cow, but
It's still high act compared to Black God White Devil.
no, Black
We
God White Devil is high art.
all right,
It's too high for me.
all
I would
right.
have to be high in order to enjoy it.
Oh, that's a good one. Um, One thing I want to say as my closing note about this film, Barren Life, is that yeah, while this is about like a very poor families on the verge of poverty, I feel less about them and I feel more about the dog. Like a 5-10 minute where they decide to shot the dog, and the way it tried to just run away from it because I think it said something wrong, and at the end where like it got shot and it just like hide behind the just under some of the thing, and
It hides in
the
like a
rat,
bush or something.
it's not the bush, it's like some of these veranda. I think it just hide under there,
Oh,
and yeah, and the mice just just waiting for that dog to die, I think, in order to to attack
to
the
eat
dog,
it. Yeah.
to eat it, and he just slowly like close his eye. It just it break my heart. It's just very very well shot as well,
Huh. You know
for
that
me at
to
least.
be
Like
honest, that part of the
it's
film is where my
just
attention was crumbling.
right.
So
Huh, right.
I
Yep.
didn't really get anything out of that scene, but
All right.
I believe you. You know, if you say that it was really it was nicely put together.
I just feel that it feels so real. It feels like like I'm not 100% sure, but I think they did it for real.
Do you think they killed a
Hopefully not.
dog?
Hopefully not, because you see the way the way it walk. The way it limping and just lick it wound. It just
Not well. I don't remember much
all
about it. I
right.
remember
Just
that they shoot the dog because it's
yeah,
sick and is gonna die.
yeah. But
Um,
well, I hope I'm wrong, but uh if that wasn't real, if that were just a stage, I kind of recommend it. Like the way that it's shot, that
hmm,
make it feel so real.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, a film like this, it might make sense to empathize with the dog more than the human characters because who do we got? Who do we got from on the human side of things? We got Fabiano, who
The
is
mother,
a poor farmer who doesn't
into
stand up to his
gamble.
boss and doesn't stand up for his wife and her calculations, I guess, when he's told,
Yeah,
"Oh no, you owe me
yeah,
interest."
yeah,
Um, and gambles away his money and may have won actually, but probably wasn't a great idea to gamble in the first place and get yourself tied up with the police. We got
yeah.
we got the mother, who I don't know
Won the bet.
who
She
what.
won a good bet. She
Yeah,
won a
she
good
wants
bet.
the bed, and that's basically all that there is to her character. Is
She
she
smoke as well.
she loves God and she wants a bed.
Yeah, and she smokes.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, who I'd rather somebody smoke in the context of this film. I'd rather somebody smoke than gamble. Like you're already
Yeah,
dying, living
yeah,
the way that you're living in such poverty. So killing yourself by smoking, like bringing your death about a little faster, is, I mean, everybody's got their vice, right?
yeah. And
At
we
least
got
you're
two
not
boys.
handing over your money by gambling. Yeah. Oh, yeah. God, when I made the comment about the child actors, do you remember the scene where the kid's like, "Mom, what's hell?" First of all, he has to ask it like 3 times before anyone will even speak to him, before someone will give him a response. So that makes the scene feel really long.
Yeah,
And then finally, his mom is like, "Oh, it's a terrible place. It's there's lots of suffering. There's fire, and everything's burning." So he asks, "Mom, have you been there?" And she overreacts because she's a religious woman, and she hits him. And his response, the kid's response as an actor to getting hit like that, is
yeah.
one of the I'm just gonna say it. It's the worst acting I have ever seen. The worst. She
All
hits him
right.
and he just puts a hand vaguely on his head and goes, ay, 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 and runs away. Like, not in any sort of distress whatsoever. The director told him, "You're supposed to go, ay, 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 like you've really been hurt." And so the kid took away from that only like the syllables that he was supposed to say and not the emotion or the intonation. He just went, ay, 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 as he runs away from that. It, like, I was disgusted watching that scene. It was
That very
terrible.
detailed from from that one scene. It totally go off my head about that scene, but I believe you as well.
Yeah, it was just, I don't know. I don't know what kind of effort was made to cast this movie specifically for the part of the children. I mean, at least the younger brother was cute. Like there was that extended scene of him watching his dad and the other cowherds,
Yeah,
um, and like climbing up on the fence to get a better look and opening the gate and then closing it behind them and stuff. But
yeah,
the
yeah,
other
yeah.
kid, like,
Ay, 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 ay.
no, not even that. Your reading of the line right there was more like soulful and had more feeling to it than his. It was disgraceful.
All right. Oh damn.
Anyway, after that scene, he goes out and sits underneath the tree and like holds on to the dog for comfort, and he
Oh
keeps
right,
saying
right.
over and
Remember that
over
scene?
to himself, "Hell,
Yeah,
burning, fire, hell,
yeah,
fire, hell." And while he's doing this, he's looking around and he's seeing that where they live, the earth has been scorched by the sun, and basically, the point that the film belabors during this scene is they're already in hell.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
but it has its worst actor deliver
yeah,
this message.
yeah.
God.
I'm really, I'm, I'm really glad that my version didn't have that text because it would put me into like a wrong impression for this film because I just enjoy it for what it is, like the life of the very poor peoples, and they try their best to survive, and they have to move away from land to land, not not because of the statement.
When you're talking about the opening text, right?
Yep, 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 yep,
Oh.
yep.
Yep.
So yep.
Yeah. Barren Lives, more like Barren Movie.
All right. So what Fleck of White Devils like?
Sorry, what?
What's Black God White Devil is like?
What is it like?
Yep.
I don't have the first
So
idea.
all right.
This
So
film is
this
so weird.
yep. This is what we can say like the most popular Brazilian films of all times. So
No, that has to be
pe-
City of God, right? I mean,
uh
I don't know anything about film, and I know what City of God is.
yeah. All right. So the second most. Like it's like one of these if you ask anyone about like uh what what is your favorite Brazilian films, I think this one will come up as like the top three
That's
for
that's wild to me.
for them.
Don't you
Yeah.
agree that the film is like very uh, abstract
It's abstract, all
and
right.
bizarre?
All right, bizarre.
Yeah,
It's
it's a very
by
strange movie. It has a
right, but
character
it's
turn and like look at the camera and talk to it
yep, yep, yep,
at various points, even though
yep,
there's no hint that anything like this might happen.
yep, yep. Because I think Glauber Rocha is like one of the most famous Brazilian directors of all times, and he made the films. I think it should be noted that he made the film when he was 35.
Okay, is that old or young or what do you think?
It's
Why is that
young, it's young,
noteworthy?
it's really young. Because I think he has something to say, like about it's have like the political overtone, and we can really see that, feel that.
Okay. So you're saying that
And
he was very young to have made this movie.
he yep, he
Okay,
was quite young for yep, 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 yep.
I see.
That's my point. Yes.
I was wondering if like 35 was old. Like
thirty
that sort of film would have been made by like a young, angry, politically conscious person, and that it would be remarkable that someone as old as 35 would make a movie like this. I thought perhaps that was your point.
No, no, no,
But
no. But he
I mean,
was
yeah,
25.
35 is I'm
25.
sorry.
He was 25, not
Uh,
35.
oh, I thought you said
Yep.
35.
Yep. 25. So that's my point.
Okay, yeah. Well, that makes more
Yep.
sense to me.
Yep. Mhm.
Um, boy, can you explain
Yeah.
this movie to me?
All right. So we got this couple. His name is Manuel, and his wife is Rosa. And one day, Manuel
Was the wife also named Rosa in The Given Word?
does a yep, yep, that's true. So Rosa
Yeah,
must be a popular name, a Brazilian name.
I
Uh,
guess so.
anyway, Manuel one day kill accidentally kill his boss, or out of anger, uh,
Definitely not an accident.
and very amateurish way of filming it. By the way, like all the data is very, very, very hammy. It it
Yes.
doesn't real at all. Um, he have to run away. They have to run away because of that. So the first thing is they come up to one of the cult group, where this black guys Sebastian is like kind of like self-proclaimed saint, and
Yeah.
he do some like he does some ritual as well. And at one point the wife just lost it, and he stabbed him in a very comical manners. Then
Wait,
the
his
wife, the
whose wife? Oh, yes.
Rosa.
Well, well, I think you're skipping over the fact where he kills a baby.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. He is Sebastian, kill the baby. God, that scene knows. Like all the scene in sorry, all the killing, all the death in the film are really bad. But the shot where Sebastian killed the baby was really well done. It's it's
I
it's
agree.
it's, it's
I
great.
was very yes, I was horrified
Yep,
by that scene. Like the fact that he keeps eye contact with Manuel
yep, yep, yep,
while he's doing it, and the slowness with which he lowers the dagger,
yep,
and there's like a just one tiny little cry from the baby.
yep. And then when he puts the knife off, we can see the blood.
Right.
Yep, yep,
Yeah. Most of this film, I was just like, whatever. I I'm just along for the ride. I'm not particularly attached to anybody or anything.
yep,
But during the scene, like obviously you tell somebody, oh yeah, in this film, there's a scene where somebody like slowly stabs a baby
mhm,
with a knife. You think to yourself, oh yeah, I mean that's just shock. That's just for shock value, right?
mhm.
I yeah, who that's there's just because that happens in a film doesn't automatically mean that it'll be like affecting,
Yep,
you know.
mhm,
But I have to say, when I watched the scene, I was like, oh man, this is really upsetting.
yep, yep,
Um, and given the way that the scene was developing, of course, he asks Manuel, "Bring your wife and bring a child, like a newborn
yep,
baby."
yep,
You can tell based on the way that he makes that request that he intends to sacrifice the kid
yep,
in some sort of ritual.
yep.
Um, and I was like, okay, here we go. This is just gonna in the style of this film. This is just gonna be some ridiculous, uh, you know, unbelievably framed and filmed scene that is going to be more humorous than upsetting. But it was really
Yeah.
terrible to watch.
And then the film sell itself by like having a really ridiculous kill by Rosa to Sebastian. Like the way that he just turned his back for her to stop. Uh,
Right.
oh my god, I just couldn't get my mind off that. But there is another characters in this film, Antonio das Montes, the one who like who was hired to kill Sebastião, who spared Manuel and Rosa, and later on who killed all these guys. Uh
Yeah, he kills like all of Sebastian's followers.
oh yeah, yeah, the way he killed it
That
is
scene was so weird. He's one man and he's killing like dozens,
he,
if not hundreds of
he
people.
have like unlimited gun as well, the way that he just shooting boom 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 boom. It's the editing there. Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, the editing in this film is wild.
I agree.
It's so weird.
Oh,
Like even early on in the scene where Manuel kills his employer,
yep, yep, yep,
so he attacks him with the knife,
yep.
and then I don't think he dies at that point, right? He dies later on
All right. Yeah, yeah, go
because
on.
he attacks his employer with a knife, and then the film like very awkwardly cuts to a very jerky scene of someone riding a horse. Like you can hardly follow what's going on. The camera is shaking so much,
Yep,
and then boom! Like 5 seconds later, we're back at Manuel's house,
yep, yep, yep,
where his mother or mother-in-law is killed as a result of a struggle
yep,
that was initiated
yep, yep, yep,
over at the farm far away from his house where he attacks his boss.
yep.
Like the getting from point A to point B there is completely unclear.
It's just point A and B, There's no
Yeah,
there's no
they
you know.
teleport essentially. There's only that
I
scene of someone riding a horse somewhere,
yeah.
and you can hardly even tell what's happening to connect
I
the two scenes. It's like somebody's, you know, it's like a kid making a film
I
on a camcorder in the 90s.
hold on, but I would say that the editing owe a lot to the Friend New Wave as well, because the first film by Godard is kind of like that, like this as well in terms of editing. So he just kind of cut in the middle of the scene, and then it get like shut off, like remember like the Chorizo, the way he died. So we have.
I remember Corisco. How does he die? Does he get shot by Das Mortes?
Yeah, he gets shot by Montes, but he like he stand with his arm open up. Uh,
Does he do his spinning move?
he do the watch move. Sorry.
The spinning
Yeah, yeah,
move. You remember
he did
how
that.
at various points throughout the film he like puts his arms out and spins around?
Yeah, yeah, he did that. He did that move, and then he fall down, and then we got the cut. So is we got the cut like some of very awkward cut, and then we see his body was still there. Antonio Desmond just come to him and to cut his head off. So I don't know why they have that cut because it's look awkward, but they do it anyway.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, I watched these films chronologically. I watched them in order. So I
Right.
saw Vidas Secas,
Yep.
and then after that, the day after that, I saw a Black God White Devil. It was the third,
Yep.
the last of the films. And while I was starting to watch Black God White Devil, I could tell that the film was going to be very slow because the characters like they walk and they move at a glacial pace,
Yep.
and they deliver their lines very slowly as well. So I was like, okay, well, I mean, I'm not opposed to slow cinema uh, in like on principle. I'll watch a slow movie.
Yep.
Um,
But
but I could, yeah, there is a but coming. um, so Vidas Secas there was very little action. It was slow and just sad and depressing. So when I started watching Black God White Devil, the film was slow. I was like, okay, at least it's slow, but at least there's also like murder and stuff. There's action, there's violence, and hopefully along with that will come like drama and stakes, right?
yep.
No, no, that didn't end up happening. But that was my thought
All right. I
when I first started watching it. Was like people are killing each other. This is a big deal. But the way that all the murders happen, as you have already said, is like completely just goof city.
Yep. And the way that even later on the way that Manuel had to cut one of the guy dick. Remember that?
Yes,
Oh God.
Corisco tells him like cut off this cuckold's manhood.
Yep. Oh my God, that's just
Yes.
so bad.
And the you see him like bring his machete down or his sword, whatever it is.
Yep.
And then the guy goes, "Aye!"
I yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude, no, like if that happened, imagine that happening to you. You wouldn't
Eh,
just make one single utterance and then be silent.
all right.
You'd be screaming bloody murder.
Uh, I would just go I right.
No, you would be like screaming as though you were burning alive.
Yep.
That's probably how painful it would be.
Yep. Yep.
Combined with like, the humiliation of that moment.
I think it
Uh
I think it's interesting because it's like the director he set the stage for Manuel and Rosa to follow. So they follow the like the clear placard. So the guy who self-proclaimed to be a god, and then later on to the guy who self-proclaimed to be the devil because he named Manuel as Satan. And
right.
I just intrigued by after Rosa killing Sebastião and Antonio Das Montes, he kind of comment that the god was killed by the people or something along that line. And
That God was killed by the people.
yep,
Oh yeah, yeah. He's referring to Sebastião as the god.
yep. And I think later on he did mention some kind of like the same meaning of like it's controlled by the people or something. Like it's a clear uh parallel, I would say, or it's just a clear the way they frame that is it's just that the people is like not the land is controlled by the people, not by God or devil or something. Yeah, something along that line.
Hmm. Okay. Is the idea that he's saying that God has abandoned the land, and that's why nothing will grow, and that's why there's so much suffering
Hmm.
and like widespread poverty
Yeah.
that God has abandoned them?
Hmm. Hmm.
That could very well be the gist of it. Um, Das Mortes, to me, he's the film's most interesting character.
I agree. I agree on that.
There's
100%.
there's that scene where he's talking to the priest and to the colonel,
Hmm.
and they're hiring him to take out Sebastião and all of his followers
Hmm.
in order to stop that movement because it threatens, like the status quo. And the way that Das Mortes responds is interesting to me because he at first he turns down the money that they offer him, and he says it like he clearly has some reverence for Sebastião, even though he understands that the church's position is that the guy is a heretic.
Hmm.
He believes that Sebastião has some sort of even if he isn't able to work miracles,
Hmm.
like he understands that Sebastião is like a powerful figure because of the influence that he wields,
Hmm.
and he won't kill him merely because he poses a threat to the church and to the government.
Hmm.
It's only later when the priest offers him double that he agrees to do it, and he justifies it by saying, "Well, war comes for everyone,
Hmm.
essentially, and that's war is how I I was born into it. It's how I live and how I
Yep.
make my money."
Hmm.
But he's reluctant, in a sense, to to commit mass murder,
Oh,
which
really?
he does.
Yep.
um, it's who it reminded me of.
Uh,
Actually, never mind. Never mind. I was going to make a parallel to an anime, but it doesn't make a lot of sense, so
all right, all
I
right.
won't do it.
But
Anyway, he's just interesting to me. Like he's kind of like a force of nature
yep.
almost, and he has to be harnessed by the corrupt officials,
Yep.
and his like the death that he brings about has to be paid for and directed in a particular, like they have to line him up and say you shoot this way,
Yep.
and he does it, but he clearly has like some reservations about it. I don't know. He just seems like the most human character to me.
I agree. And he even spared Manuel and Rosa like twice. Still don't.
Yeah, he does it so that someone will be left to tell the story of what's
All
happened.
right.
That's how he
All right.
explains it to the blind man.
Yep.
If you remember the scene where the two of them talk.
Yep. 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 So
Yeah.
that's very
So he even has some consideration for history. Like he
right.
leaves witnesses so that someone will be able to explain what's happened.
Yep. And no doubt he was like the most. I would say maybe the most or second most popular characters out of these movies because uh his his characters appear again in one of Rocha movies later on as like the sequels or even prequels to the same characters of that film. So the film about that characters.
Yeah, Wikipedia says here that Rocha he directed like an informal trilogy, beginning with Black Eyed White Devil, the second film being Entranced Earth,
Yep.
and the third being Antonio das
Yep.
Mortes.
Yep.
So about that character, and I assume played by the same actor,
Yep.
Mauricio de Valle.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, I doubt that I will ever watch that film, but it's kind of cool that the character who he's the character who I connected with the most, and perhaps I don't know, perhaps the director did too,
The
or audiences did too, or whatever, because
yeah.
he did appear again.
And what do you thought about Chorisos, the guy who larger than life, who's like would speak to the camera directly, who do like multiple pose and who have a really very distinctive uh way of dressing. Like his face is very distinctive as well.
His face looks very distinctive. I just thought he was like extremely handsome.
All right. I just
He's
thought
really good looking
he
for
looked
a madman.
he looked like Alice or Axel, whatever his name is from Guns N' Roses, the singers.
Axl Rose from Guns N'
Yeah,
Roses?
that's right. That's that
Really?
that kind of remind me of him. Yes.
Interesting. Okay. I can't even picture Axl Rose. I don't know what he looks like. I mean, I guess I'm on the internet, so I might as well look it up. Axl Rose.
uh, Maybe play of some of
Oh
their
no,
early
dude.
performance. Nope.
I mean, I'm looking at him here. I need to type Axl Rose young. I can't really see much of a
All right.
resemblance, but there could be. I mean, because he's wearing that funky hat and he's got facial hair,
Yeah.
and it could be that if you give him a shave and take off his silly hat with all the little bangles in the front,
All right. Yeah.
that they might look similar. Um, what? Yeah. I mean, what is there to say about his character? So one thing that's kind of interesting about the film is that Sebastião.
Yeah.
I don't believe that's his actual name. I think he adopts the name Sebastião because it's reminiscent of Saint Sebastian.
Yep. All right. Mm-hmm.
And so he does that in order to give himself legitimacy
Yep.
as like a prophet, so people will follow him.
Mm-hmm.
And Corisco does something similar. He calls himself what is it? It starts with an L.
Oh.
I have it here. Oh, Lampiao.
All right. Let me out.
He calls himself Lampiao. And I believe, based on the way that he talks about him, that Lampiao was like a freedom fighter. He was part of the resistance,
Mm-hmm.
and that he was killed.
Mm-hmm.
And so Corisco adopts his name, Lampiao, because frequently he turns to the camera and talks to it, like giving the audience information about, I don't know, his point of view and his hatred of the government and
Mm-hmm.
et cetera, et cetera. So one of the things that we learn from him in those moments is that he adopts Lampiao's name because Lampiao has died,
Mm-hmm.
and that eventually, when Corisco dies, that what we as the audience are supposed to do is consider it as though Lampiao has died, as though he's like carrying on his spirit, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I understood,
Mm-hmm.
there in this anti-government movement that he's a part of, there was another man named Lampiao who had been killed, and that he was carrying on that man's name and his mission,
Mm-hmm.
and that when he dies,
Someone else
we're supposed.
carry that
Yeah,
name.
maybe that was the idea, that someone else, not even in the film, but in the audience,
Yeah.
is supposed to like pick up his torch and keep his spirit alive.
Ah.
So you have Sebastião taking the name of Sebastian, and you have Corisco taking the name of Lampiao.
All right.
So the fact that these characters are kind of rebranding themselves, renaming themselves, gives the film like kind of a religious feel to it. Like people are taking these names that are kind of like holy to them,
Mm-hmm.
and adopting them for themselves and working and acting in their name,
Yep. 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 I kind of
which was kind of neat.
Yeah, I kind of see. I think that makes sense as well. But even like Sebastian and this guy,
Corisco.
Kurisco, as we see it, had been really corrupted as well. Like uh they would do a lot of outrageous things.
Oh yeah, like killing a baby.
Killing a baby, and even to Kurisco, he do much worse. I think he killed a lot of people. He just
Worse than killing a baby.
he just crashed a wedding, and you know
Yeah.
and killing people left and right. So
I think it's implied that he rapes the bride.
yeah, true. Yep, yep, yep,
The film can't really show it.
yep.
It just shows him like
Am-
kind of
Amateur
holding
wrestling.
her and like
Yep.
it was wrestling, adult wrestling.
Yep, yep, yep.
But I think sexual assault, rape is implied there.
Yep.
and he even impales that guy like a government official. He impales him on a cactus.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that scene where he kills somebody by skewering them on a cactus?
All right.
And then he does that. Then in the foreground, he's talking to Manuel about something or other, and in the background, you can see his two followers like getting the guy down off the cactus.
Yep. Yep.
That scene was bizarre. Like
Bizarre,
almost
yeah.
every scene with Corisco in it was
Over the top. Bizarre, yes.
yeah, over the top, but like hard to parse,
Yep.
hard to get a grip on.
Mhm.
It's just really weird.
Yep.
And
Yep.
his spin move, man, his glorious spin move. I made note of the timestamps of every point in the film where he does his spin move because I want to make like a GIF of him doing the spin that just repeats. So he endlessly spins like a helicopter. If I can figure out how to do that, that'd be great.
Did you make a timestamp?
Yeah, I have
All right.
I have the
How
timestamp.
many times did he do the spin?
3.
Wow. And that
He did twice is in the scene where he's introduced.
Yep.
Like his self-introduction, which is half to the characters in that little outcropping.
Yep.
Where they first kill some government folks.
Yep.
And he's talking half to them and half to the camera, and he does the spin move
When he dies.
twice.
Yep.
Yeah. Then he also does it again when he dies. Yeah. Or shortly beforehand, I guess.
God damn it. Yeah.
It's just absurd. Like I wonder what the thought process was.
Yeah.
Was that a choice made by the actor? Was that something that Rocha told him to do?
Yeah.
Whose idea was that, and why was it not cut from the film?
I'm pretty sure that Rosha think this is a cool idea. So just he didn't cut any of that.
I mean, that spin move, that's what you do when you're 5 years old and you want to like threaten someone.
Yeah.
You stick your arms out like that and you like shake your arms around or you spin your body around.
Yeah.
Because you've been told you're not allowed to punch. That's, kids have to learn that really early.
Yep.
You can't hit, you can't punch. So to get around that, you just stick your arms out and then you like spin around.
Yep.
It's childish. Like it looks like something that kids do.
Yeah.
I don't really.
So what are Manuel and Rosa's role in all this? Are they supposed to be like the witness, or are they, do they
Are they supposed to be what?
just the witness of like meeting the placard and the white devils, and or like do they have like any other function? Because it's the wife who killed Sebastian, for example, but it's not.
Yeah. And then the wife gets entranced by Das Mortes' wife, right? Or his woman, I guess, his girlfriend or whatever she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're actually married.
Mm-hmm.
That was strange.
Yeah.
I think that probably came about because the director was like, "Oh yeah, that would be kind of, like
Yeah.
that would be sensual if there was just a woman who was like staring at another woman. Ooh." There just didn't seem to be any purpose to it.
Yeah.
Other than that.
Well, the
Well, so what? I mean, they start the film as like poor farmers.
yeah.
And they Manuel is drawn to Sebastião because he sees him as like a beacon of hope, I guess.
Yep.
And then Rosa, it's interesting in all three of these films, the wives, the women are like they have no choice essentially but to go along with their husbands, and they all suffer for it. In this film, Rosa is like, Manuel, you're being stupid. This guy is obviously not going to like merge the sky and the land and create an island in the middle of the sea that will like flood the earth, like he's talking about.
Yep.
Saying a whole bunch of weird prophet stuff. You're just falling for like an illusion, basically. And Manuel is like, my wife is possessed by the spirit of the devil.
Yeah. Man.
So what is their function? I don't know. Manuel, they're both in horrible economic conditions. Manuel, in his desperation, falls in with prophets, madmen, and criminals. And Rosa holds out for a little longer, maintains her grip on reality for longer, but eventually she too, like it seems, is overtaken by madness.
Yep. Yep.
That's their point, is they're just to be pitied, I think.
Hmm. Yep. 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 Well, so they are another victims, just like Zay and the family in Barren Life.
Fabiano.
Yep.
Fabiano and Vittoria
Yep.
in Barren Lives, yeah.
Well,
Yep.
well. Yep.
I mean, the editing is just completely amateurish. I don't understand the direction of the film at all.
Yep.
It just, this is not what I want to see, I guess. I mean, it's completely unprofessional looking. There's very very little for me to grab onto.
Yep.
I don't know, man.
All right.
That's all. That's really all I got. I mean, there are aspects of this film that I like.
Mhm.
The apocalyptic feeling of it,
Oh yeah.
the religious overtones, like the harshness of the sky,
Yep.
in terms of the cinematography. Like it's blown out,
Yep.
so it appears just like pure white, as though the character, like it's the end of the world. That all of that has a really interesting look and feel to it,
Mhm.
but I feel like the film is just hamstrung by how laughable the acting is,
Yep.
how goofy the characters are,
Yep.
and how little sense it makes.
Yep. The editing as well. I
Yes,
really like the closing shot note. Like we see,
where Rosa falls down and he keeps running.
yeah, he keep running and there's some music like doing the sound as well, and he just keep running and running in the desert, without any
Yeah,
destination and feel
it eventually
lost.
cuts to the ocean,
Yep. 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 Yep.
so deep. Oh, we end with the ocean, the mother of all life.
Yep.
That seemed to me like a very French thing to do.
All right. Um, the screenshot that you sent me, according to Wikipedia, is actually that guy holding a drill stone that that weighs like over 20 kilograms. So it's very heavy. So after he carried that stone, he had to take 2 days off.
Oh, I'm seeing that on Wikipedia now.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, that scene was I actually timed it. Hold on. I have the
All
timestamps.
right.
Okay, so yes, that scene where Manuel repeatedly takes the rock
Yep.
and puts it on his head
Yep.
because he needs to. This is probably something that Sebastião told him to do
Yep. Yep. Yep.
on their way to the church or whatever where they're going to sacrifice the baby.
Hmm.
Uh, because everyone knows that before you kill a baby, you have to carry a rock on your head and crawl on your knees to
Oh.
get to the offering site. Everybody knows this. That's that scene where he struggles to put the rock on his head and crawl on his knees while Sebastião just like stands next to him, waiting for him to get the let out.
Yep.
It takes place between 45 minutes 8 seconds and 49 minutes 40 seconds.
All right. So
So for those of you at home, that is 4.5 minutes of him struggling to put a rock on his head and crawl on his knees.
all right. That's not too bad. Uh, both Black God Rideable. I just want to give you a little bit of trivia. The last trivia I want to give you. Black God Rideable and Barren Life both attained 1964 Catch Film Festivals in the main competition.
Hmm.
Uh, that year, the film won the Pagador is uh, the Umbrella of Trouble, the musical from French.
see.
All right. Yep.
Okay. Perhaps they were motivated to put more Brazilian films in the main competition after Pagador de Promessas
Yep.
won in 1962.
Yep. Yep. So,
Hmm.
yep.
Well, it's too bad that I mean they got that Brazilian film in there that they were really pleased with and that won the award, and they were like, let's get more films from Brazil in here. And then these are the two that they have to like. Oh, what Brazilian films can we put in the main competition? What came out? Oh, two really slow, dull, bizarre, un
I
you know,
all right.
unentertaining
The one thing that
films.
the one thing that I the one thing that I would say Black God White Devil is that it's no. I don't think it's no. It's never no in any seconds. It's just ridiculous.
Uh, it is ridiculous, but yeah, yep,
But yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Alrighty. So we done with the cinema novel.
Yay.
Yay. They say that the cinema novel actually have three stages, and we only watched the first stage, which is like the most acclaimed stage of the three phases. So well, if your feeling of cinema novel, after watching the uh, three most acclaimed film from the first phase, it's like that. It's not that high. Chances that you're not gonna enjoy the second phase and the third phase either.
I'm not so sure.
All right.
I mean, I don't think I'll be checking out any of those other films anytime soon, but
Yeah.
to be honest, a lot of films like from this period, it seems to me, based on, for example, this first phase of the Cinema Novo movement,
Yeah.
and also the Iranian New Wave.
Yeah.
Um, the I would suspect that the reason these films have the reputation that they do is that they make social statements.
Hmm.
And in the eyes of a lot of like film historians, film
Yeah.
theorists, that's probably the most important and best thing that a film can do.
Hmm.
And the entertainment factor is kind of secondary
Yeah.
to whether the film, says up front, this film is about the suffering of 27 million Northeasterners, and no decent Brazilian can
Oh yeah.
like
Yeah.
something like that is like crack cocaine
Yeah.
to a film scholar. They're like, oh my, this film is important.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a film that is less acclaimed might actually be more likely to be entertaining
Hmm.
because it's not as like slow, self-serious, and overtly political.
Yeah. 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 I can
I
see
mean, I
that.
don't the idea of a film being political is not, it doesn't turn me off.
Mhm.
But if that's really all the film has going for it, and there's not much to grab onto apart from that,
Mhm.
then I don't know. I might like the films better that are less loved.
Yeah. 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 Totally can see that. But well, we did it once more time. So well done, guys.
I might be done with new wave type themes for these podcast episodes, man.
All right.
It seems
Fair
like
enough.
a roll of the dice, you know?
Yeah. Fair enough. Well, but actually, like the Czechoslovakian New Wave, we actually enjoyed the three movies there. Remember that?
What refresh my memory? What were those three
All
movies?
right. The Shop on the Main Street with You Head. um,
Shop on Main. That's the one that ends with the guy hanging himself out of guilt, right?
yep, yep, yep. You just did the spoilers there, but yes. And
Oh yeah. I didn't hate that movie.
all right.
It was my least favorite of the three,
Yep.
but I would put that film above all three of these Brazilian films.
All right. Love of a Blonde is the second one, and
Loves of a Blonde. That film was okay.
the third one is Closely Watched Trains.
Yeah, that was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
See, there's a film that has political elements to it, but is also very entertaining,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
A kid who killed himself, who attempts suicide because he cannot erect.
Right. Yeah. He has erectile dysfunction, so he tries to kill himself.
Yep.
in a bathtub in a brothel.
Yes. That's amazing.
Yeah. So you got that on the one hand, and then you got a delusional, self-styled prophet murdering a baby in cold blood on the other hand.
Yeah.
Which am I going to pick?
Ah.
You know, 99 times out of 100. Actually, I'll say 100 times out of 100. It's going to be Closely Watched Trains.
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
but it's true. I mean, point taken. There's some good. We've had some good experiences with new wave movies, but as of right now, I'm feeling kind of
Burnout.
yeah, burned out on that, or rather, it feels like I've been burned.
Yeah. Hold on. Friend New Wave, the three films that we watched. How did you like it?
Once again, I don't
All
remember
right.
the three films. I remember one of them was Truffaut, right?
Yep. I think Choose and Chim is I think that's the name. And Godard's movies. The one that
Oh,
1964.
Godard was what I was thinking of. It's the one where the guy blows himself up with dynamite at the end.
Yeah.
Big spoiler again.
Yep. Pierrot Le Fou, I think.
Yeah, Perot Le Fou. And then Jules and Jim. And then the third film was Cleo.
Oh, Cleo.
Was
Yep.
was it not? No, what Cleo was part of the woman cinema
That's right.
episode.
That's right.
So what was the other
Oh,
film?
Hiroshima Mon Amour.
Okay. Yeah. That was another very slow, like highly allegorical
Yep.
movie.
Yep.
Jules and Jim I liked.
Mhm.
I remember that.
Yep. All right. So we have hit and miss.
Yeah. I'm ready for some hits, man. I want an episode with just nothing but hits.
All right.
That's what I'm hoping for. We'll see.
Yep. We see. All right.
So we'll be back in like 3 weeks, right?
Yep.